So what up, dope? It's Dewan Dandridge, Black Leads Detroit, and we are back with another episode of Speak for Yourself. Of course, I'm here with Ken Elkins, our amazing COO, and also a good friend of ours, Anthony White, who you all would recognize, I'm sure, from the Detroit Youth Choir. What's up, Mr. White?
How y'all doing?
Anthony White, what's up? You graced us with your presence.
Well, yeah.
Graced us.
I'm in the neighborhood. How y'all doing? Thanks for having me, man. This is big time. This is big time.
No doubt, man. So, how do you like to be introduced? Like, what is something about yourself that may be said, may not be said when folks introduce you?
Well, a lot of people tease me when I say artistic director, but that's what I pretty much am for our organization. I'm the president, the doer of all. We have a staff, which is our great, we have a great staff. But, at the end of the day, I'm there vacuuming. You guys even see me vacuuming, sweeping, cleaning up the front of our area and everything. But that's what I do. I'm the face of the organization and basically just artistic director because that covers a lot of things of what I do.
How long have you been at DYC?
Well, I started, as a 20-year-old, and I was actually going to Marigold.
Great now, so
listen, I'm all great, and that has a lot to do about life. You know what I'm saying? And I tried dyes and stuff, but that don't work. But I started as a 20-year-old.
We're gonna edit that out.
No, we're not.
Keep that.
We definitely not.
Keep that. But look, I started as a singer student here at Marigrove College, on the campus of Marigrove College, as a student, and I bumped into a guy named Fleming Ivory. He gave me the opportunity to work with the Detroit Children's Concert Choir. Okay. And that was DYC before DYC.
Now, was he having you work with them because he ain't like the way you were singing when you started out as a singer, or was
no? I would.
You'd be better off doing this. You'd be better off doing this.
Because he said he was 20 years old.
I was 20, right?
With the Detroit Children's Choir.
I was with. So the Detroit Children's Choir was the blueprint, and I actually worked on staff. With this guy.
Okay.
And by me working on staff, I learned how to direct, play the piano, and do other type of things, like direct, do all that sweet stuff they see me doing now. But he left the city to move his family to another state. So he was like, either you take it or I dissolve it. So I took it. And I didn't know what I was doing, of course, right?
Then you still 20.
I was like 20. It was like all in the same year.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but he was in his 4th year or whatever. And he was like, man, I can't do this. We about to move. So I said, I'll take it. So I took it and changed the name, got the paperwork. Our first 501c3, I did it through Neighborhood Service Organization, NSO. And they did it for me. I paid them $1,100 to do it. The second, because I didn't do all the things I needed to do to keep it. The second one, I did it myself, and that's the one we have now, the 501c3. So he didn't have none of the paperwork or nothing. Yeah. So I did all of that as a 20-year-old.
Which is not uncommon, right? Like oftentimes we go in because we see a need. Yeah, and we can feel that need, right? Exactly. So that's what he did. There's a lot of dynamic programs around the city, right?
There's a lot of programs
that are like amazing and have a crazy impact, but they just don't have the infrastructure.
No.
So like hats off to you at that age.
I was a youngster.
To be able to go and find an organization like the NSO that would do it, but then on top of that, like circling back and doing that. So you've been committed to this for a long time.
Man, I'm 43. And 23 years.
23 years.
I've been dedicated to these young people and trying to get us just to the next level. Every year, we try to do something good, right? But of course, everybody knows from TV, America's Got Talent. But before that was the struggle. Yeah. Basements, getting kicked out of churches, and getting replanted all over the city. That's where we came from. And people see us now, but they didn't see me when I had the keyboard on my back and the speaker in my hand going from church to church. They didn't see that struggle. So that's kind of what I want to let people know about, like the struggle, how it was hard to, it was hard for me to charge people registration fees. Now it's not hard because they're like, oh, I want to be in this. Right. But before, I had to find kids to be in the DYC.
Yeah.
So that's, we have over 100 plus kids now. And before, we were only working with like 50 something, 60.
Only?
What was the smallest?
The smallest amount. Yeah.
5 kids showing up on.
Yeah. That's a good. I like that. We had about 7 at the least.
At least about
7 young people.
Wow.
And we did a whole concert. My first concert was with 7 kids.
Oh wow.
And I remember buying them all Old Navy fleeces. Wow. The same color. That was when Old Navy was popping.
Right.
All the commercials. Yeah. So I brought them all fleeces. And I was like, look, y'all, we about to do this Christmas concert and we're going to charge tickets. From that money, that's what I paid for the first 5. It was like the Motown theory. Okay. From that show, I paid for the 501c3. And then from there, then people start like paying registration. And back then, our registration fee was like $25. Yeah. And they got a whole bunch for $25.
$25. You sitting there meeting them with them every night.
Man, every night I'm up here like, oh, I'm trying to get the best out of them.
For the high 25.
For the high 20. And then somebody,
can I still get in for that high 25?
Actually, we need to be higher
a little bit more than that. Especially after y'all just heard Ken. Ken gonna need some private lessons, some to gargle.
Man, listen,
a whole lot of stuff before
singing.
Do something with him.
You know what's crazy? Singing is actually, everybody can actually do it. Even if you don't think you have a voice, there's somebody.
My family. I just want to say to my wife and kids, y'all heard what Mr. White said. He's more qualified to speak on this subject matter than any of y'all. So say that one more time.
Look, anybody has a voice. Boom. It just depends on who you get to bring it out. Okay. We have over 50% of our kids can't sing.
Wow.
But I'm able to do some type of director's thing I do to get everybody to sound good. It's kind of weird, and I think it's mental. I'm able to tap into that part of their.
I want to speak to that.
You get what I'm saying?
I want to
go ahead, do that.
Because it's more of a, if y'all ever seen a hardcore football coach, anything like that. I sat in. You said it too. I sat in on one of the rehearsals, right? Ooh. So it's like, like a lot of people, I saw them on HGTV, and they just like, like really live and animated and sound great.
But how do we get there?
He's standing out there doing that. But then I see him in there, and he like, y'all remember, like, what's the one sister from Fame?
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen, when she was there with the stick, like, you on Fame? That's how he was in there. I was like, dang, he sounded like a hardcore coach.
Yeah.
And it was like, they were responding. And I think what he was communicating with them was like, no, like, I'm getting ready to bring the best out of y'all.
Yeah.
And they weren't very old. But their
young,
response, you could tell that there was love there was trust there, and there were really, really high expectations.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that, man. So, like, hats off to you.
Thanks.
Because
you did come to a rehearsal.
Like, we need to be pushed sometimes.
We have to be pushed.
Pulled, but obviously there's an embrace that's happening as well that makes them feel protected and loved. So.
Yeah, like, I'm not doing it to be mean. And, a lot of the kids be like, Mr. White mean, or when he come in the room, we got to straighten up. Yeah, because I'm the artistic director. Right. And when I come in, I don't want that weak stuff that you maybe give our other directors. When I come in, I want at least close to perfection. Everybody's not perfect, right? But I want as close to perfection as you can get. Even with America's Got Talent, we was preaching to them, y'all got to do better. They were good, though. It was like, y'all got to do better than good. You can't give America just what y'all give here in the city. Y'all got to go above that. Thus, the second golden buzzer for America. So they actually shifted in a different gear on that stage. You know what I'm saying? And then we have another one coming up But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
and our listeners in Detroit, don't feel slighted. Y'all know y'all want them representing when they on the national stage, right?
Like, so we gotta go hard.
Well, I've seen y'all several times here, and y'all always sound amazing.
Thank you.
Y'all rock the house, but we do want y'all representing on that national stage.
Yes,
the way the way that y'all represented. So hats off to you for that.
How did y'all even end up on America's Got Talent? Like as a
great question.
Like, what were you thinking? How did y'all end up there? Talk about that.
Well, we had one of our parents back in 2018. She came to me and said, "Would you like to be on a show?" And I was like, we don't do that stuff. You know, we just Detroit Youth Choir, whatever. She was like, well, I think y'all can do America's Got Talent. And I said, nah, you know, we're not a competitive choir. So then she was like, let me do the paperwork. She did the paperwork, sent me the email. I put our information in, and we got accepted to do an audition. That audition was in Cincinnati. And that was maybe 4 choirs ago, right? But I was like, okay, let's go. So we went to Cincinnati. We got a bus. We went to Cincinnati, and we didn't make it, right? But the people there, the producers, were like, try next year. We'll be in Detroit. So next year came. I filled out the paperwork, and I remember getting off the bus. Well, did we all come together, or all the kids got dropped off at Cobo Hall, which is now Huntington, right? So all the kids got dropped off. I remember a representative of AGT come and get us at the front door, and it was like, we pushing you to the front of the line. You the Detroit Youth Choir, right? I was like, oh. So one of my staff members, Daniel Valentine, y'all seen one of our guys. Mm-hmm. He's an alumni too. He was like, Mr. White, this feels different. I was like, I don't know. Let's just go in there and rock it. So we went in there. We blew it out. I forgot what we were singing. I think it was Higher and Higher. You know, your love lifting me higher. So we did a rendition of that. Hey, give it up. So we did that. And then they were like, oh, man, this is the same choir from last year? So they was like, okay, go to this room. Go to this room. Fill this paper out. Go to this room. Fill these papers out. Go to that room. Fill these papers out. And then they were like, okay, we need y'all to act like you guys are being told that you're going to Hollywood. And then they started putting us in this B-roll. And I'm like, they said, Mr. White, it looks different. I said, I think you right, man. So lo and behold, they sent a letter later that year saying, congratulations, you guys are going to Pasadena. Pasadena was where we got the Golden Buzzer in 2019, right? So it went from that till, okay, Golden Buzzer happened. I didn't know nothing about that, by the way. That happened. Then we went to, we came home, we did our concert, and then we went to the finals. That was later. That's where y'all saw the live shows. Yeah. So we had kids to drop out and stuff that didn't have faith, like we ain't gonna make it. So we went through that. So we actually took the B team.
Really?
Back to the finals. They made it to Pasadena.
They still didn't go. Knowing that they made it.
Some of them didn't believe.
So like, time out.
Right.
Y'all went to and came in second place.
Yeah.
And who's it? Cody, right?
Cody Lee. Yeah.
Cody Lee. Shout out Cody Lee. Like,
shout
no
out
disrespect to Cody Lee.
You the man.
But y'all came in second place with the B team?
With the B team. That was the B team because some of the A teams,
that's crazy.
They dropped out.
That's crazy.
Especially all my boys, all my strong boys.
Yeah.
They left because of a miscommunication. Like they thought that they can do acting instead of choir that year. And I told them, like, no, man, we trying to go to AGT.
Right.
So they all just said, I'll skip it. We ain't coming. So we got a bunch of new kids at that time.
Got them ready.
And just like this choir that you see now.
That's a system.
And, you know, and what people don't understand is we have a system. And the system is get these kids integrated. Get them to know the old stuff. Get them to know the old stuff. Whereas when Black Leaders Detroit book us, the new kids know the old stuff, so we can go and blast that. Right. But then they can get to know the new stuff later. Yeah. You know, when we get booked, because we get booked every week or every month. So, so AGT is like our family now. Of course, I mean Simon was about to cry, and you know we actually touched something in Simon that he saw himself in us or something. But then Terry Crews took it another level. Like, hey, I used to have a coach like you, so I love you just like I love my coach. My football coach or whatever.
Right. I told
and
you.
he's a musician too.
Football coach.
Oh yeah, it was a football. Yeah, and he was like, man, he believed in me, so you know I'm going to believe in y'all. Boom. That's kind of how it went down.
What was going through your mind, like when he hit that golden buzzer and all the stuff coming down and the kids? You know what I mean?
It was
got
cool.
The B team. Like, what was kind of going through your mind?
The first time golden buzzer, I didn't know what was going on because, as you can see in the video, he cut off Howie. Like Howie Mandel was saying something. He's like, well, like that. And then Terry was like, oh, he about to go into something different. Right. So let me come out here. And he was like, hold up. So my kids was like, Mr. White, he about to hit the golden buzzer. Bro. You know, the kids like, bro, the kid's about to hit the golden buzzer, bro. I'm like, I said, what's the golden buzzer? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't know.
Bro, you on AGT and you don't know what the golden buzzer?
I wasn't a fan, right? I didn't know. They didn't tell. I'm like, what do you mean by what that mean? They was like, we gonna go to the finals, Mr. White, just watch. So Terry Crews came out and all the kids was in my ear as you see kids' eyes bulging out because they knew what was going to happen. Yeah, so they was like, oh, man, oh my God, it's about to happen. So then I saw kids just fainting on the front row by me. They was like, boom, boom.
Oh, wow.
See, the TV, like, they did a good job of editing, but kids were like falling out. Oh, wow. I think my niece fainted in the back. They had to get the smelling sauce or whatever thing to wake her up. Wow. But then Terry was like, you are that man. He would just start talking, and everything was a blur because all I heard was like the Charlie Brown teachers. Whoa, 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 whoa. I heard that in my ear because they were like right in front of us, and I was just looking like, what is he saying? Okay, he about to do something. Boom, he did it, and I'm looking around like, if you can see me, I'm looking like, what is this confetti? Like, what does this mean? And he was like, you're going straight to the finals. I'm like, the finals? Oh, okay, so we doing good. We do it. So we made history or something.
Right. He waiting to say, did we win the break?
I'm like, did we win now?
The finals, did we win?
And I was like, oh, we got to continue. Yeah. So when we came back to Detroit, we had to work with songs to prepare for the finals. Okay. And that was when we were in and out of different churches. Hartford, shout out to Hartford Memorial.
Because y'all didn't have a home at the time.
We didn't have a home. Hartford Memorial and Fellowship Chapel. We was back and forth.
Nice.
Boom, boom, back and forth. And Rosedale Baptist Church actually took us in as well. Nice. Shout out to Rosedale Baptist Church. Yeah. Pastor Cross at the time, and they were like, "You don't got to pay us." Yeah, Heyman Cross. Yeah, and he was like, "Man, you don't have to pay us. You good." So I'm like, "What?" So we were there actually rehearsing for America's Got Talent before we went. Okay. When we got back, different story because now we didn't really have a place and da. But after the finals, we came back. That's where Life Remodeled. Chris Lambert, DeWine Dandridge, that's where they came into play. Life Remodel came into play, and Marygrove came into play. So that's why we're here at Marygrove College because Rachel Allen, she was blowing my phone up. Can you? We want to start this program. We want y'all to kick it off, which was the
incubator.
The incubator. Yep, the incubator, and we were the first entry into the incubator. So this was our home when we got back. Now we had to manpower our space, but now we got a big time space now. We got offices, studios, things like that. But we still grinding though, man. And AGT is really our foundation right now. Now it's like we're starting over again as an organization almost. You know?
But it sounds like
I feel like we got to pay some bills.
We got to pay some bills real quick. So let's go to a quick commercial, then we're going to come back and dive into how, what I'm hearing, how the community came around you and provided space and all these other things.
Yes.
And then we're going to talk about what we often talk about is like resources, funding.
That's the big
necessary,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
So let's run to a break. We'll see y'all in a minute. Detroit Sip is the community's coffee shop. It is located on 6 Mile between Livernois and Wyoming. Inside, you'll find free Wi-Fi, sweet and savory treats, and drinks to celebrate the city of Detroit. Let us be your home away from home. Let us be your home away from home or workspace. Printing options are also now available. We are open every week, Thursday through Sunday. Follow Detroit Sip on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We are much more than a cup of coffee and have the best customer service around. Come chill with us. Inspiration is just a sip away. We look forward to serving you again and again. Detroit Sip, 7420 West McNichols. So we are back with
Yes, sir.
Mr. Anthony Wright of the Detroit Youth Choir and Ken Elkins, Black Leads Detroit.
Yes.
And we're always talking about funding, right, and resources. Like that's what we do at Black Leads Detroit.
Yeah.
There are a couple things that stood out to me when you were talking. Is one, the parent that volunteered to say, I want to do the paperwork.
Yeah.
Right? It's like people don't understand how much we need volunteers to take initiative like that.
Yes.
Because that set the whole thing in motion, right? So shout out to that parent that was like, I will like take this on, take this off, because she was probably able to see how much work it took for you to just do what you were doing already, right? But then to hear how the church community came around you, as you mentioned, Hartford, you mentioned Fellowship Chapel, and Rosedale Park Baptist, right?
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Big.
Then you get the golden buzzer. Y'all come in second place. You come back. There's $1 million endowment. Right?
Yes,
and you probably were like me, not even knowing what an endowment meant. You know what I mean?
I knew that we couldn't get it all at once.
Right.
That's all I knew. We couldn't
I
get
know
it.
about endowment. I couldn't get $1 million right
Yeah.
They weren't about to put the $1 million in our hand,
No.
right?
Right here.
Right.
a little bit of it.
But,
Which our community thought I had.
Yeah.
Oh, of course,
at
of
one
course.
time.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, you probably had bill collectors like, yo,
Man.
I heard you got that bread now. Right?
You had people.
Family members ready to borrow.
Right.
We had people in the streets that was coming up to me like, y'all got that $1 million. Give those kids some of that, They was saying. I mean, I had every person and every talking about y'all rich now, and it's crazy because I'm like, this is a program, right? And this is an organization. We needed money. We need money to continue. So they didn't know. People in our community don't know. They need to be educated.
Let's just do an angry black man segment right here.
Right.
Let's just do an angry black man segment right here. So if you don't know what angry black man is, it's us responding to the world wanting to shame us for being angry when we have something to be angry about, right? Like we carve out space for us to be angry. I'm quick to say I am an angry black man. I'm also happy and I'm also sad at times, right? Hopeful, but I'm okay with myself being angry. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
But did that make you angry when people was coming up to you saying like, get them kids some money, right? Because in my mind, the first thing coming to my mind is like, have you ran a program? Have you done anything for these kids or any other kids while you trying to tell me what to do? What was your thought? Because you probably had to get defensive, but what did you feel like when you got home that you like, I wish I could just say this to everybody to say that?
Well, to speak on that, to put it long story short, when we got back, I was at Coney Islands and supermarkets and stuff, Walmart, and people was like, that's the choir guy. That's the choir guy. So they all wanted to know, like, where did that money go? Everybody in the world want to know that, right? First of all, in endowment, we only get 2 disbursements a year. And those 2 disbursements actually is just to take care of, like, whatever we need for that month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not the whole half
It's
year.
enough to cover a month.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's a percentage of the $1 million.
It's a percentage of the $1 million. And our parents didn't know what it meant either. they thought that if our babies lost, we still have to compensate them and stuff like that. But we told them that no, we lost. We came in the second place. That your child don't get any residuals off of that. So
from the show.
Yeah, from the show. Yeah, we came in second. No, and the endowment came like later, right? But
from a number of foundations.
Yeah, a number of
local foundations.
Yes.
That wanted to support the work of Detroit Youth Choir.
Yes.
But you know what's funny about that though? Is the fact that they even gave them an endowment. Like that in itself is like, we're not going to give you the money. We're not going to give you the $1 million.
Nope.
Black organization. We're going to set up $1 million.
Yeah.
And give you tidbits of that. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because we don't know
what you gonna do with your
what you gonna do. We don't
what you gonna do with the
whatever
money.
We gonna give you tidbits of it. That in itself is
it's kind of a gut. It's kind of a gut punch.
It's definitely gut punch.
It's like, ooh.
We'll give this organization $1 million in the drop of a dime.
Boom.
But you just was on national TV. We see what you're doing for these young folks. You're doing this huge deal
with no money.
With no money.
No money.
This is what you're able to do with no money.
Imagine if we had that, and what our program would be.
Yeah.
If we had a literal $1 million like in our hand. Like I feel that DYC can be further than where we are if we had adequate funding, like constant, which we're working on. You know, it's a work in progress. But you know, shout out to the Community Foundation for even hosting the endowment for us. Because the endowment is made up of what? Skillman, Kresge, Balmer Group, you know, people like that. But we need money to sustain us like yearly, not just twice a year, you know. And I think the world don't really know that. And but you know, with our docuseries coming, that you know, later on in the year, well, mid-year 2023, it's going to be called Choir on Disney Plus, right? So in that, you're going to be able to see the struggles of the DYC. You're going to see the lack thereof, and you're going to see me even talking with Mr. Dewan on some things on camera that needs to happen with DYC, which is going to be extraordinary. I'm kind of letting the cat out the bag, but I want people to kind of see what it takes to do the Detroit Youth Choir. And I didn't mention that my mom passed like when we got back from the Golden Buzz. Well, when we got back from the live shows, she died like 2 or 3 months after, and I kept going. Boom, boom. COVID happened. We kept going. COVID happened. We got Glory out of it, which was a big song for DYC. Then when COVID kind of calmed down, we hit the world with Sweet Child of Mine, based on the school shootings that happens in America. And then now AGT All-Stars is going, which is cool. I'm working on a book also called The Golden Buzzer.
Did a Christmas album too, didn't
you? We did 2 albums. We did a Christmas album, and we also did an album called Rock Spell.
Okay.
Rock Spell was done by our center stage choir, which is our middle choir. And the primetime choir actually recorded 2 songs that's not out yet, but we're going to put it out after, like during the Disney release and everything.
Nice.
But we accomplished a contract with Disney during COVID and everything. So a lot of good things been going on with DYC. So I don't never regret anything. I run DYC the way I want to run it, which is cool. I tell the kids I'm the principal superintendent, because they like to refer everything to school. So I said I'm the principal, I'm the teacher, I'm the superintendent. So I'm able to let y'all go at will, you know. And I tell everybody DYC is a free will organization. You do not have to be here if you don't want to be here. You know, mama and daddy be trying to make their kids be here, and I be like, y'all don't got to be here.
Right.
I can go on with 15 kids. You know, we took 38.
Seven.
Seven. We can do it.
Right.
We did a whole concert with 12 kids after the 7.
Okay. Okay.
So, but that was years down the road, though.
Now,
So.
I want to back to a couple things.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned a lot of things that you're working on. Which
Boom, 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 boom.
So, again, congratulations to the Disney special, right? So
Disney docuseries,
docuseries
6 episodes.
6 episode called
Choir.
You said Dwan was on it.
Yeah.
Back into that, 'cause I think you seen me in the hall a couple times. You never pulled me to the back. Like, never. So let's start there. I don't think you ever pulled me in the
Was
back.
the cameras around?
I think they was. But I digress.
But Dwan, he's always in the right space at the right time.
Because he didn't. He always want to be on the camera.
We're going to change Ken's name to Flash. Right? And he knows why. Because, again, the 5 heartbeat.
5 heartbeats.
When Eddie Kane Jr. said, "You want my job, Flash? You want my job?"
I'm saying, I talk to Mr. White all the time. I ended up on camera. That's all I'm saying.
Look, I mean, we don't know. I might not make the cut. You know what I mean? There's a good chance the editor's going to take me out. So.
But you know what?
It won't be the first time.
It's not that often that I see you two here at the same time. I always see y'all like separate. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool, y'all. I mean, BLD. Even over COVID, BLD helped us out twice. I think you guys blessed us with 2 grants. And I was like, we need that because nothing was coming in during COVID.
Yeah.
So Dwan saw a need, and he was like, everybody in the cohort, we're going to give y'all this.
That was the incubator.
The incubator. Yeah, he was like, we're going to give y'all, $2,500 each.
Yep.
And that was when nothing was. That was when I was at home growing an afro.
Right.
Because we couldn't go to the barbershops and stuff. Right. So big shout out to BLD.
But it's interesting though, because did you say that? Because COVID was starting in
2020 to 2021, a whole year.
Though, when you was hot, when the youth choir was hot,
BLD
launched in 2019. In October
That's the same
2019. At
when did y'all get back?
Museum.
When did they get back?
We got back in September 2019.
So
September.
Y'all at the height of stardom.
Yep.
In a small non-profit organization that no one knows.
Nobody ever heard of.
We went to lunch when we got back.
We went to lunch.
Yep.
We went to lunch with you and asked you to bless us and bring the youth choir at our launch.
Yeah.
At the African
American Museum. We came.
Showed up. Y'all came. Y'all was there.
And rocked it.
Man.
Got y'all hype. You could have big time us. Martez, our producer, big time.
Look, the people that were there, they had no idea that we had $0 budget wise.
Wow.
Because it's like Detroit Youth Choir came.
It was like,
and we couldn't. All we were able to give y'all was pizza.
That's it.
Yeah, we had
that
some
was
food.
It. Yeah. Shout out to Darius and Latrice. McClendon for providing that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But yeah, man. So before we ever looked out for Detroit Youth Choir,
man, y'all
blessed us with way more than what we've given you to date, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, right? Thank you so much.
I definitely want to make acknowledge of that, because you could have just been like, nah.
But I believe
you had a humble spirit.
I believed in you guys because I'm like, let's do this for y'all, because y'all just starting. Like, I've been in the game for, like, it's almost time for me to retire, but I've been in the game for a long time, so I want to see you guys rise. Yeah. So I'm like, DYC, let's go. Boom. We hit that gig. I think we did the Lions, the Pistons. Like, we hit everything in probably the state of Michigan. Cleveland, we did the Cleveland Cavaliers game. Fresh off of. Now, what people don't know is that we had another half of the choir here while we was in LA. People, and they did a documentary, and they did performances while we were on the live shows. And people like, how did you have 2 choirs going at the same time? It was all due to my craziness. My mind goes crazy. It does, because I was auditioning kids while we were in LA. Because we was in LA for a month. Yeah. And we had auditions here. We had a half another choir here. We had performances back home while I was on the phone talking to everybody back here. Like, okay, the kids will be there at 5 o'clock. Okay, we got to go to set. Okay, boom, we went to set. Those kids watched the other half of the choir on national TV when we got second place. So they were on the edge of their seats. And when we came home, they welcomed us home as well. So people don't understand that we had 100 and 15 kids part of the choir at that time.
That's huge, going from 7
right
to 115, and that's before it was on TV, right? So that's huge that you were able to build that, manage 115 kids. So that's really dope. And
it's easy.
And back into the docu-series, I'm going to talk a little bit because again, it's just amazing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What can viewers expect to see in this docu-series? Is it behind the scenes?
Yeah.
You trying to ask? Is it too late to like try to work you into it?
Well, we can call him back. We can call him back. You know what I'm saying?
Speak for yourself. You know what I mean?
But you know what? I always tell people, what youth choir, African American based, have ever graced like Disney besides DYC. We the first. So I look at this as a history thing, a history making move, right?
Historic, yeah.
And you know, DYC, I mean, what you're gonna expect is a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of performances. I think our big thing of the series is gonna be Carnegie Hall. So they're gonna chronicle us asking the kids, how do you feel about Carnegie Hall, to actually being on stage. So you're gonna see the development of the kids and their willingness to try to impress us to get that ticket, because we gave golden tickets
to go to Carnegie Hall.
So we had an audition and we had callbacks. So we was like, okay, y'all, we about to read the names off. So we did our own version of AGT here for the kids.
Now don't get the listeners too much. Make sure
I want y'all to tune in. I'm not gonna say too much, but it was a great experience for them, because I've never been in Carnegie Hall, and that was everybody's first time singing there as well.
And now you're on the championship version of
All Stars.
The All Stars. The All Stars. So talk a little bit about that.
AGT All Stars is an opportunity that we took. You know, they reached out and they said, "Hey, we want you guys. You guys came in." They said you guys came in number 4 of Simon's favorite Golden Buzzer of all 18 years.
Wow.
And he was like, they said, "Would you like to be a part of AGT All Stars?" My train of thought was, I want to give the kids that didn't get that experience the experience. So even though it came at a bad time, because we transitioning during this time, you know what I'm saying? I was like, let's go for it. So I put our bid in and they sent the paperwork. Boom, we was there. But AGT All Stars is like the best acts in the world, not just the country.
Right.
So
from all over.
Oh man, Brazil, Africa, Europe. I mean, we're all competing against each other, and DYC is bringing the heat. And if anybody listening, if you want to tune in to it, it's on our second Golden Buzzer moment is on YouTube at 2-point-something million views right now. And like, people get emotional when they watch it too, and it's just amazing, like, because they see these African American. Well, we have like a universal choir now, like all races or whatever. Right. So we have a choir from Detroit. Let's just say it like that, with all these kids with these dreams, you know, and they looking at them like, oh, they crying. Oh, I'm gonna cry too. You know, that's how people look at, you know. But we represent it, and it's a very very good show. I think we come back on February 20th.
Gotcha.
And that's the finals.
Make sure y'all tune in for that.
Tune in.
February 20th, AGTV.
Yep.
Yeah,
on NBC or Peacock.
Yep. What's kind of like your proudest moment? You have a lot of things to be thankful for, grateful for, a lot of highs, successes that, you know, a lot of people in your type of position don't get to experience. So what's your proudest moment?
My proudest moment, and people ask me, like, why do I do DYC? I mean, it's just, you know, I try to, how can I say it? I want our kids to go to college, right? Because I went to college. But every college is not for everybody. But I want them to be successful. So when you walk down our hallway in our department here on the campus, you get to see faces and pictures of kids from years past. And when they come back and say, Mr. White gave me this opportunity, I couldn't even sing, but he put me on national TV, that's what makes me proud and do what I do, and to see a young lady or a young man graduate college because they were in the Detroit Youth Choir, that gave them inspiration to graduate college. Man, confidence. I don't know what's going on with our young people, but their confidence level is so low. In the Detroit Youth Choir, what we do is we tap into that and we raise their confidence level to make them believe that they can do anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Simon sat there and said, I'm emotional. Oh my! I mean, who put a stamp on Simon's mouth? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For him to get to that level, we had to have put something in his heart or something. So Terry Crews, of course, that's our guy. But to see Simon that way, wow, that was big. So I know we touched him and his family. So we part of their family. But and AGT is another proud moment because we didn't think that we can do it. Right. And we did it again. We got the second golden buzzer. He said, you guys are the best youth choir ever that been on that show. And that's crazy. Out of all the gospel and acts around the world, we the best. You know what I'm saying? So when I walk into a rehearsal, I'm like, nah, y'all don't sound right. Do it again. Do it again. I get it to where it's perfect, to where I'm satisfied. And then they be like, wow, Mr. White, we did it 100 times. It takes 100 times to get it right. You know what I'm saying? And then I want to bring a new face to youth choirs.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of young African American directors no more. You know, it's just not.
So let's talk a little bit about the funding again, right?
Yeah.
So I can remember us interviewing you and you saying, and this is right when you came back.
I remember that. Yeah.
And this is after the endowment and the whole nine.
Yeah.
But you were still working a full-time job.
Yeah.
You still had your staff that was teaching choreography, acting lessons and all that.
Yeah.
They were working for free, volunteering, most of them, right?
Yeah.
And you said something, and you said you went around and you was knocking on all the funders' doors.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there was a secret society.
Yeah, I use those words.
Funding, right? And it's interesting because I talked to like several people in the funding world and told them that you said that.
Yeah.
And they were like, he's kind of right.
It's a secret something or the other out there. I don't know what it is, but I know we're in the circle, but we're not in the circle, you know what I'm saying, of funders where we should be. I don't know why, like, I don't know if it's because I'm a black male or I have I don't know. I don't know if it's because we're a choir. They see choir only. But I let people know that we need funding, like now, not tomorrow, not in 5 months. We need it right now.
Yeah. Kim, can you talk a little bit about that, right? So I think that one of the things that come to mind for me, and we've talked about this.
Yeah, for sure.
Dynamic team of individuals working with the youth. But Ken, you've been in the nonprofit space even longer than me, and you know that like oftentimes what funders are looking for is back office, right? They're looking for, you know, what do your books look like? Are you measuring impact and all these things? And somebody like you, I mean, I go back to the brother that started and passed the baton to you.
Yeah.
He ain't care about none of that.
He did.
Y'all care about the kids, which is what we all supposed to be focused on.
Supposed to be focused
right?
on, yeah.
But there's a rub and there's a disconnect still to this day. I don't know if it's going to ever go away, to where it's like, no, if you can come and have less impact and never make it to AGTV with your kids and give them that experience, but you can keep your books tight and you can keep this other stuff that we want to look at and our board members want to look at, you got that tight, then you're more likely to get funding than Detroit Youth Choir, even in this day and age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think unfortunately what I've learned is that sometimes it's more on so-called capacity than it is the work that you're doing. Right? So it's how you look versus
on
the
paper.
Work that you're doing. How you look on paper versus the work that you're doing. Right? So what does your staff look like? You know,
what's the demographic?
What's the demographic of your staff, right? Or how, when you present a proposal, what does that look like? All of these things that I find are used to measure capacity, and less about the actual work that you're doing.
Exactly.
The work of the community, which is the toughest thing for me. I've been with the community foundation before, and that was one of the hard things I learned. Was it would always be said, well, they don't have the capacity to do the work. And I was like, but they've been doing the work for 20 years.
20 years.
Like, just because there's two people doing it, they've been doing it for 20 years. How do you say they don't have the capacity to do it? But somebody who's been doing it for 3 years, they got a staff of 10 people, where you say they have the capacity to do it. But the thing is, they started with a lot more, so therefore they was able to hire and put people in place.
So you got an organization that's heavy on the administrative side of things, right? And the financial reporting and all of that. That's more likely to get funding. And not that, like, I'm not somebody that, I believe in accountability, right? I believe in, like, making sure that things are above board and documented properly and accordingly and all of that, right? But I also feel like we should be creative enough and we should be committed to the youth enough to make sure that the Anthony Whites of the world, of the city, because you are amazing. Detroit Youth Choir is amazing, but there's more than just you out there that are still like as committed and struggling. I'm talking about struggling. The problem is y'all make it look so good that nobody knows that y'all struggling. Like, I bet you nobody knew that you were still working full time when you were on AGTV.
No, I was working full time.
I mean, I hate to even say this like out loud because your wife might see this, but I remember you saying, dude, like 20 years of every Saturday.
No Saturdays.
20 years of every Saturday. I mean, you didn't take a Saturday off in 20 years.
20 plus years.
20 plus years. I don't know if there's anybody else that can like say that. You know what I mean? And I don't know if anybody else is as committed as that, right?
It's hard to find.
It's hard to find.
Yeah.
Another thing about the funding piece, and Juan and I both know this very well, is what we both realize too is the saying, of course, is not about what you know, what you do, so much as about who you know. Right, and that is such a real statement. And that's what we need to do more of as smaller organizations, black organizations, and understanding that it is about who you know. So you have to build relationships. So as you say, I am about that accountability. There is something to build relationships, and you do have to put in the work. To build those relationships so you can get that funding, right? And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of organizations don't do, is we're so busy doing the work. And, a lot of times, like, whatever. But I think at some point you do have to be able to build relationships with the right people, build allies.
You do.
To go to bat for you. Like, Dewan's very good at building his own relationships, but making sure that he has people in place to speak on our behalf. Goes and talks to
that's what I'm saying. And I had to find out the hard way about you do have to know people, because when we got back, I thought everybody knew us, but they do know us, but you have to know that guy or that lady that can walk us into the boardroom and say, look, the Detroit Youth Choir need money. They said they need $25,000. They need it next week. Boom. And we have those people, but during the course of years, they disappear. Boom. What happened to such and such? Oh, they left and went to such and such. So you constantly, when it comes to funding, you constantly have to have your group of people that's consistent. I was talking to the Detroit Lions today. Big shout out to Roxanne from the Detroit Lions. And she was just telling me, like, to be considered for our foundation, you have to be chosen by the players. Your organization have to be chosen by the players. I was like, well, how do we get on that list?
Right.
And she was like, she kind of vaguely said there is no list. But I was like, well, how is such and such a part get those funds? Right. She was just like, basically she was saying that it's somebody that knows somebody in the team that's nominating that person to get those funds.
And that's everywhere, right?
Oh my
that's
word!
The Lions, that's
Pistons,
everywhere.
that's the Pistons, everywhere.
All the corporations, right? It's like
you have to know somebody.
You have to, and like I don't want to say that we begrudgingly embrace that model, but once we learned. Ken has raised a decent amount of money in his time. Yeah. He's like really good at it. Mm-hmm. Like that's my job at Black Leaders Detroit is to consistently raise money. Yeah. But I got a great education working with Chris.
Chris Lambert, man. Shout out to Chris Lambert.
The way that he works and goes about it. We just don't get that education because we're not in it for that.
I know.
You didn't start this to go and work with a bunch of people in foundations. You started this to work with youth.
And I did DYC. We used to only pay our staff twice a year.
Yeah.
And that was based on ticket sales. Yeah. Imagine that.
And that's a shame.
That's crazy.
Shame on us. You know what I mean? Man. For y'all to and the other organizations that's out there doing the same thing. That's the reason we exist at Black Leaders Detroit.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
We want to start putting some zeros behind those grants that we've given y'all. And we can only do that with y'all's support. So we hope that y'all will continue to sign up to donate that $1 a week or that $4.33 a month or that $52 a year, right? Yes. Because you see what we're going to do with it and where our heart is. And you definitely know that the need is out there. You imagine if we wasn't worried about like big philanthropy and big foundations writing those checks because we had enough of you that believe in the Anthony Whites out here to make that commitment. So that's a challenge to you right now. You want to say anything to people that are thinking about donating to Black Leaders Detroit?
Listen, Black Leaders Detroit is one of the best organizations out here. First of all, because they are giving to they have a giving spirit. So if you guys give to Black Leaders Detroit, they're going to bless other organizations like the Detroit Youth Choir, like these other small organizations with funds. And I mean, I see it happening on your social media every day. I mean, it looks amazing. And I just want to commend you two because it's two brothers doing it. And we're brothers over organizations. And I think that we just have to stick together and just do it out here. I mean, just have to let people know, like, donate, become a member. How about that?
That's it.
Because I'm a member of BLD. How about that? I'm a member, and I just support everything y'all do.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Well, this has been good.
Yes.
I mean, we're neighbors, so we're going to have you back for a part two. We definitely going to have you back once.
The finals.
Once the final. No, we're going to have you back once the
Disney show. The
pops.
Disney show drops.
Yeah. So we look forward to that. Thank you for coming out and spending some time with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
So that is us. Speak for yourself, Black Leaders Detroit. We hope y'all enjoyed hearing from Anthony White. See y'all soon.
Can I audition before we can?
Go ahead. I got some time.
No, like if you're gonna play for that speaker, once you bust it, you know what I'm saying?
I guess
you play for that speaker.
You will never find.
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Woo! You guys are A1.